Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Welcome back. It is Erev Shabbos, Parshas Vayikra, and this week we have the privilege of beginning the third book of the Torah, Sefer Vayikra. So I'd like to discuss a little bit about the word Vayikra and perhaps the light that it sheds on the entire book of the Torah that shares the same name. So Rashi brings our sages at the very beginning of the Parsha, where they say that the word Vayikra, and Hashem called, Vayikra el Moshe, Hashem called to Moshe. That word is a lashon chiba. It's an expression of love. L'chol dibros u'l'chol amiros u'l'chol tzivuyim kadma kriya. Rashi says that for every time Hashem communicated with Moshe Rabbeinu, he always used a lashon, an expression of kriya. He would always say Moshe, Moshe. He would say Moshe's name twice, that the lower Moshe should be able to rise to the higher level of Moshe, the level of Moshe where he's at his root level, and ready himself for that communication, be ready for that communication that Hashem is about to give over to Moshe Rabbeinu. This is the same expression that the angels use when they call to one another, Vayikra ze al ze b'amar. They call to one another lovingly to communicate not just information, but to create a connection as well. This is in stark contrast to the way Hashem communicates to the prophets of the idolaters. For when Hashem called to Bilam, when Hashem communicated with the wicked prophet Bilam, there the Torah says, Vayakar Elokim el Bilam, that Hashem happened upon Bilam. It does not say Vayikra. Why is that? Because by Bilam, it's not about the connection. It's not about the relationship. It's simply about the information. Bilam had to be given information. But when it comes to Moshe Rabbeinu, Vayikra el Moshe, Hashem always calls to Moshe and he says, Moshe, Moshe. You know, the Sefer Mimam Akim suggests that perhaps this is the connection to the third book of the Torah. You know, the third book of the Torah, the theme of the third book of the Torah, of course, are the karbanos, are the offerings that we brought when the Mishkan stood and later when the temple stood. What is a karban? What is a karban? So if you look at the word, the root of the word karban, it's lekarev, it's to bring close. Karbanot are simply vehicles of connection. The way the Maharal says it very beautifully is in the communication between Hashem and Avram Avinu at the Bris Bein Habesarim, where Abraham is asking God, he's saying, what merit will the Jewish people, will my children be able to remain in the land? And what merit will they be able to have this eternal connection? So Hashem shows him the karbanos. Hashem shows him the concept of kapara. Hashem shows him the concept of atonement. Says the Maharal, the reason a carbon works to bring atonement, the reason such a simple thing can bring atonement is because in reality, the connection was never broken. In reality, this beautiful connection between Hashem and the Jewish people is so powerful that really whatever we ultimately do to infringe on that relationship, it doesn't, God forbid, break the relationship. It simply is a disturbance. It's a disturbance that can be corrected through a carbon. Only because in the very reality of the relationship remains intact. We remain intact. That the Jewish people really are not about sin. We're about that connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. At the core of who we are is that connection to Hashem. It's not about the sins and the mistakes that we made. The carbon takes care of the little things on the side, because the reality is that in our core, in our essence, we are pure. In our essence, we remain connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moshe, Moshe, that call, that loving call, is really the call of the entire Sefer. The entire Sefer is calling to us through the karbanos, likarev, to come close. And in truth, it's actually a pasuk in Shir Hashirim. The pasuk says in Shir Hashirim, Kol dodi dofik. The sound, the call of my beloved is knocking. He's knocking on the door. Pischali achosi rayasi yonasi tamasi. Hashem says, open up for me, my sister, my beloved, my dove, my perfect one. Hashem calls not just to Moshe with a lashon chiba. It's not just to Moshe that Moshe gets this Moshe, Moshe, but it's to each and every one of us. Hashem calls David, David. Sarah, Sarah, Pischuli achosi, rayasi, yonasi, tamasi. Open up for me. Open your hearts. Open your minds. Ready yourself for that communication. Ready yourself for that relationship that's there already. That's there be'etzem. That's there intrinsically. My beloved, my sister, my dove, my perfect one. I wish you all a wonderful Shabbos, and I look forward to seeing you soon.